When you look at this equation, how do you feel? Anxious? Ready to call it quits? Or do you have no doubt that you can solve it? Think about it for a moment. Now, how many females claim they could solve this equation? How many males? Do you notice the contrast? There were more males than females. This is a trait shared by our ancestors. Think of all the famous mathematicians you know, like Einstein, Newton, Descartes, Euler, Pythagoras. They're all men. Now, if I asked you to recall a famous female mathematician, would you be able to? Most people can't. Is it that women are poor at math? Well, aside from the famous female mathematicians in history, like Ada Lovelace, Hypatia, and Emmy Noether, recently in 2014, Maryam Mirzakhani won the Fields Medal, the highest achievement a mathematician could attain. However, they haven't won much attention. The same can be said with girls and boys. Teachers often think differently of students of different genders in math. I have encountered this before. Since I was young, I had always been in front of the class in math. I was able to understand the concepts my classmates don't, solve complex problems, and score well on tests. For that reason, I decided to take a test for an advanced math class in a math learning center. After I passed, the teacher looked at me and asked, "You passed that test?" That moment, I was stunned. My first intention was to think if I had accidentally violated some rules. I asked, "Why would I not?" He looked at me with a puzzled expression and replied, "You're a girl." That was such a nonsense statement, was what I thought at first. But when I thought more, I realized my parents have once told me the same thing, just not as directly. Though girls have often weaker spatial abilities, a study has shown that after the training of 116 children in grade 1, gender differences have been eliminated. Here, an interesting point is seen. The potential of spatial ability in the two genders are equal. Only current performance is different. Another gender difference in math is the attitude students have about math. The gender gap in math confidence is larger than the gap in interest and achievement. Girls have often higher levels of math anxiety and lower levels of math confidence. Even when girls perform the same in math as boys, they are usually less assured of their answers. This explains why boys often raise their hand more in math than girls. In spite of these gender differences, overall, girls' and boys' math performance averages only vary from the 0.1 to 0.3 range, meaning there is no significant difference. Even the experiments showing the largest distinction is not sufficient for it to become significant. Furthermore, all the scientific evidence mentioned above indicate averages, not the performance of individuals. Since the gender gap in math is not big, no one should be judging someone on their math performance based on their gender, especially if this person is themselves. Let's say you're on a scavenger hunt. Then you're told that the people of the other gender can usually solve the challenge, but people like you are less likely to succeed. When you think of this, you'll probably get more anxious and lose confidence in yourself. Maybe not immediately, but when you're faced with the hardest step of the challenge, with a riddle you can't solve, you will think back to the theory and think, maybe I'm just not capable. Would you perform worse over time? The answer is yes, yes, yes. This is exactly what many girls in the world think when they can't solve a math problem. A study conducted by the National Academy of Sciences had indicated that girls who have female teachers who are anxious about math perform worse. First and second grade female teachers were assessed on their math anxiety. Over a year's time, students also got assessed on math performance. Gender differences were fairly small in the beginning of the year, but in the end of the year, Many girls, but not boys, were performing worse in the classes of high math anxiety teachers. This is because they start to accept the gender stereotype: girls are good at reading, boys are good at math. I'm not saying we should blame the teachers for this, as they have been through this in their childhood too. Moreover, the experiment showed that only girls who accepted the gender stereotype for math performed worse, and not every girl in the anxious teacher's class adopted it. Therefore, if girls can maintain a positive view about math, they will not be influenced by their teachers' attitudes, but rather just their knowledge. I am lucky that in my school, teachers are not prejudiced against girls in math, but I also know what it feels like when they do. Many girls in the world right now are still staying invisible in their classroom environment of math. This problem needs to be solved at a society level. I believe the only way to adequately solve this problem is to have both girls and boys, teachers and students believe in gender equity in math. The boundary stopping girls from performing well in math needs to be removed, opening their doors to higher math confidence and eventually better scores and more female mathematicians. I believe once this boundary is removed, the world will truly see that the potential of math in the two genders are equal. Thank you.